There are three types of clients that exist. There are those who want things for free, right? So this is why most small businesses that have a heart to serve start nonprofits so they can offer services for free. Then there's the cheapo people, which are cheap clients, people that want things for free. They want the hookup, they want a bargain shop. The cheapo people are the people that really you're operating at the B2C level that has you spending more hours than it's worth your time. And it's really hard to climb to the top with those cheapo people. And so the third type of person that exists is the premium client. So the premium clients is the type of client, of course, that I love. Those are the ones that pay you for your value, not for your time. There are only 3 premium clients that exist in the world. The first are celebrities. The second one is corporations, but you can't access corporations unless you understand the navigation. And the largest purchaser of business products and services in the world, of course, you all know, is the government. Okay. You land the government as a client, especially when you are a client that is socially economic disadvantaged, whatever that looks like. It may be black and brown. It may be woman. It may be veteran. It may be just small, just disadvantaged. It's whatever that looks like for you. But these are the ones that are able to write lucrative contracts. So just imagine if at minimum, you can expect to secure at least $2.7 million a year if you do the work. Have you ever wondered what highly successful people would do differently if they knew the steps to doing it? If so, be sure to tune in and stay locked in today. I'm going to be talking about 10 lessons that I wish I'd known before starting a business. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Dr. Karwanna D. Irving. I am a government contracting strategist who also help high-level entrepreneurs that are 6- and 7-figure earners multiply their wealth by way of government contracts. I know that it is a very complex system to navigate, and so I break it down with you and to you in a bite-sized manner that you can actually digest and actually execute on so that you can get results. I'm going to be talking about 10 lessons that I wish I'd known before starting a business. And if you are at the point where you're either starting or relaunching a business, when you know these things, you can literally see results happen for yourself and in your business. What I'm getting ready to share with you works for any kind of business, regardless if you're providing professional services or if you're doing products. When these 10 things, and when you are fully aware of these 10 things, or if you don't know these things, it's time to do some homework if you want to grow and excel in your business results. So you definitely want to do these things. So I'm just going to dive right into it. The first thing that I wish I knew prior to starting a business, had I known these things, and even today, if I was to start all over, these are the things that I would really hone in on. The first thing is I wish I would have known the various types of business models that exist, right? Because when you get started in business, you hear about business to consumer, B2C, primarily, you hear about that. Yes, sometimes you may also hear about B2B, business to business, but not really. Because even when you're starting and you're probably in an entrepreneurial program, they talk about your target market, like your audience, like who is your target avatar, right? And then typically, generally, they're like, how old is the person? Are they married? Are they a homeowner? Do they have children? What's their college education? How much money are they making? So you're pretty much carving out individual people, which is on the B2C level. So I'm actually going to share my screen so we can just, as we walk through this, so I can illustrate like why this is so important to understand. And I do have, and I will probably put it in the show notes somewhere, a link to the full breakdown of the different types of business models that there are. So there are 4. And I have a full YouTube video already about these 4 levels. What are the different types of business models that exist aside from B2C, business to consumer, and B2B, business to business? We're going to get into it really briefly. So I'm going to do a quick high level overview. And so B2C is the consumer model where most people who are operating at this level, they're still exchanging time for dollars, right? Do so many hours, get paid so many hours, I make so much money. Generally, if you are operating at this level, you are typically stuck between $0 and $80,000 a year. And it's really hard, especially if you have a dream to really growing a thriving multiple six-figure, even a seven-figure business. It's hard to operate here because your time is limited, right? It's hard to break through this threshold. B2B is usually when you're breaking through the threshold of $80,000 to about, let's say, maybe even up to 150,000. So if you have a hybrid business, you could be making somewhere in between or whatever. But most companies that get started, most businesses, entrepreneurs that get started, they start here. And then sometimes they send to a little bit of a hybrid model. When it comes to having a multi six-figure business and growing beyond that, then usually that happens up here. So there's D Square, which is business to corporations. And this is where you can actually land a contract that is about 150,000. So instead of exchanging time for dollars, now you're getting into exchanging value for a lump sum, right? So you're exchanging value. This is the value exchange right here in this. And so this is where you break between 150, maybe up to even $300,000 a year, because now you're getting your time back because you're not exchanging your time. And all you're doing is bringing value to the marketplace, and you're exchanging that with people who have deeper pockets to pay you, right? And they're paying you for you to serve the many employees that they have in their corporation. And then when you're ready to scale to $500,000, million to even up to 5 million or more, then this is where you would break through the threshold at this highest level. The highest level of value as a business that you can bring to the marketplace is B2G. Okay. That's business to government. The government is the largest purchaser of products and services in the world, period, hands down. They spend more than China. They spend more than Africa. They spend more than wherever, Canada, wherever you want to point yourself on the map. The government, the US government, is the largest purchaser of business and products and services in the world, and they want to buy from you. So this is where you actually can really grow and scale massively, because not only are they paying for your value, but they're paying for multiple values within your value. I don't have time to get into it today, but if you've been on my 5-day challenge, the GovCon challenge, which you can register at govconchallenge.com, then you understand, right, what I'm talking about. So this is where you break between the $300,000 and let's just say you can really scale to infinity with the government. But most small business entrepreneurs are like solopreneurs, and you haven't really grown a team yet to where you have the capacity to handle more. So I'm going to put this up to 10. Let's just say 10 million, right? Even though it can be 10 million beyond. It could be beyond that, but I'm just going to put a cap on for small businesses. These are like one-man show, right? I'm the solopreneur, or maybe I have one assistant that's helping me, right? 1, 2 to 3 people, whatever, max. So this is the business model. So when you look at this scale of business model and you're like, I want to start a business so I can have $1 million firm and all these other things, but you start here, it's because of the lack of knowledge that you're starting at the wrong level. Or if you want to start here in a sin, then of course, then it's going to be that 2 to 3 years, maybe even 5 years. That is where 2 to 3 years and 5 years really comes into play. Because generally we were told that it takes 2 to 3 years, maybe 2 to 5 years in order to grow a profitable business. That is not true. It's a misconception. It depends on what you know, right? So the difference between what you know and what you don't know, that is the reason why that may be real for you if you start here. But knowledge is power, right? And we want to turn that powerful knowledge into profits. How do you turn powerful knowledge into profits? You got to understand what you're getting yourself into. So when you go in knowing the highest level of value that you can bring to the marketplace, you can be like, hey, I'm going to start here, because you can. There are very minimum qualifications to start at the top. So now you're starting at 6 figures and then you're multiplying and ascending to millions of dollars. Or maybe you're starting at millions of dollars, because literally one contract with the government could be 1.6 million. It could be 2.6 million and beyond. And you're like, hey, I'm not going to even play with the game. I don't want to start from the bottom. I don't want to start from scratch. I don't want to have headaches. I don't want to chase customers. I don't want to work 70-hour weeks just to barely make 6 figures. I don't want to be a part of the 96% of entrepreneurs in the US that doesn't even make 6 figures, but yet I'm putting in all this time and sweat equity. You don't want to do that. You can be like, I want to start at the top and say, so if you want to do that, then the starting at the top starts with this particular business model. If I'd known that going in, it would not have taken me 5 years to figure it out. how to break the ceiling and how to become first generation curse breakers and all those other things, and how to actually explain that information to the people who are following me today that have come behind me that I'm also teaching along the way. And so understanding the business model, had I known that from day one, we would have started at the top. This right here could be a whole like screen for itself, right? It could be a whole training within itself, just understanding that. But that's just number one on the list, y'all. I'm bringing it today, right? The second thing that I wish I'd known prior to starting a business is the 3 types of clients that exist. Clientele, understanding a true avatar, like who are the clientele? There's a type of client, and generally there are 3 types of clients that exist. There are those who want things for free, right? So this is why most small businesses that have a heart to serve start nonprofits so they can offer services for free. But we all know that a nonprofit is still an LLC, a corporation. It's a corporation that just has a taxation benefit, right? So it's a business that has to run, and you can only run with money. So somebody had to fund your nonprofit, whether you find a for-profit or your for-profit is funding that nonprofit, or you get grants, right, to fund that nonprofit. But everything that seems for free is not all 100% free. Somebody's got to pay for that. But say like you start a nonprofit to serve the people for free. There are free clients that are out there. Then there's the cheapo people, which are cheap clients, people that want things for free. They want the hookup. They want a bargain shop. They want to price shop and all these other things. That's a real thing, right? And so the cheapo people are the people that really you're operating at the B2C level that has you spending more hours than it's worth your time. And it's really hard to climb to the top with those cheapo people. And then the third type of client that exists is the premium client. So I'm going to share, I'm going to write this down just in case you guys miss it. I don't want y'all to miss this. And so the third type of person that exists is the premium client. So the premium client, so to put 3 types of clients, 3 types of clients. It's free, the free people, right? It's hard for you to get anywhere serving that, right? You want to build a lucrative business first, and then maybe from there fund a nonprofit that you have where you're able to serve people for free. Okay, so we just go into things backwards. And then there's the cheapo, right? Number 2 is a cheap client that want to price bargain shop and all these other things. The Pookies and Rays, I call them Pookie and Rays, the homeboy hookups, people who want the hookup, they want to price match and bargain shop and all these other things. And usually these are like the people, you find most of those on the B2C level, right? Which makes it hard for you to really grow. The third type of client is the type of client, of course, that I love. Those are the premium buyers. Those are the ones that pay you for your value, not for your time. They pay you for your value, not for your time. These are the ones that are awarding or signing and writing checks for $100,000 or more per value exchange. Premium clients. There are only 2 premium clients that exist. There's three premium clients that exist in the world. Okay. The first are celebrities, but unless you have a network where you're connected directly to a celebrity and you can serve them at the highest level and they'll pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars to do what you do, then that's not as likely for you to land a celebrity as a client, okay? The second one is corporation, but you can't access corporations unless you understand the navigation, how to navigate through. But there's a process. There's a process. So the process, you close that knowledge gap, then you can land a corporation as a client. They write checks, big checks, hundreds of thousands of dollars and even millions of dollars in checks. And the largest purchaser of business products and services in the world, of course, you all know, is the government, okay? You land the government as a client, especially when you are a client that is socially economic disadvantaged, whatever that looks like. It may be Black and brown. It may be woman. It may be veteran. It may be just small, just disadvantaged. It just may just because you are a micro small business, whatever that looks like for you. These contracts, like they start at it varies, right? But these are the ones that are able to write lucrative contracts. Your first contract or the average contract awarded last year alone was $2.7 million to small businesses, the average. So just imagine if at minimum you go in and you decide you want to do business with the government, you can expect to secure at least $2.7 million a year if you do the work, right? Because they're just not going to give it to you. You got to do the work, right? And there's work to do. So that is the second thing I wish I'd known. The third thing that I wish I'd known was various markets. So a lot of times people jump into business because it's a thing that they love to do, right? I love to do this. I'm going to start a business. Or they got a brilliant idea. I'm going to start a business. But there are so many different types of markets. And ideally, we just start with the quickest thing that, whatever, that's to our heart, right? Usually we do business, I'm talking about small business entrepreneurs typically do business from the heart. I am tied to doing graphic design. That's my passion. That's what I do. And yes, that's a great thing as well. But when you understand the various markets and that exist, that are out there, there's a lot of other things that you're leaving on the table that you can potentially do as well. For instance, let's just say you are a IT professional. You provide IT services. And yes, you can land lucrative contracts either with corporations and with government agencies for your services. Lucrative, right? However, there are also other markets that you can tap into where they're writing the same similar amount of big checks as well. So when you don't see specific opportunities for what you're passionate about, there are other opportunities in other markets that you can tap into that you are knowledgeable about. For example, perhaps there are contracting opportunities for you to source sticky notes, which there are. Typically, I've seen a sticky note contract for about $250,000 to go buy sticky notes. I'm trying to see if I have sticky notes on my desk. Piece of paper that sticks on the wall, right? For $250,000. Outside of your IT specialty expert service, you know where to go buy some sticky notes. Yes or yes? Let me know. Do you know, anybody watching this video right now, do you know where to go buy some sticky notes? Have you used it? Do you know what to do with a sticky note? If so, then guess what? That is an open market and a pathway for you to go and do a business where you can get paid lucratively, right? Glenna says yes. However, most people go into business and they're boxed in. It is not your fault. It's not. We've been programmed. It's a lot of programming that happens. 12 years of school of programming. That's 12 years of slave. 12 years of programming. It's hard to do that. And then you continue to be programmed through media and television and news and all that. You continue to be programmed. So if you're 30, 40, 50 years old, that's 30, 40, 50 years of programming to show you how to stay in the box, right? You have to be open-minded. You got to get outside the box. There are opportunities, especially when you started a business to make money, right? So if there's money to be made, even outside of your initial expertise, and you know how to go do it, then you got to open up the box, get outside the box and go make that money because it's on the table. Okay. So understanding the different markets that exist, right? Service, products, all those things. I wish I had known about those various markets. Number 4 is I wish I would have known that entrepreneurship is the only true way to wealth. Yeah, there are ways to win the lottery, hopefully, right? That's wishful, hopeful thinking, right? You may get lucky. Nobody wants to build a career or a business or a future or legacy based on hope, okay? So what are the true pathways to creating wealth? They don't teach you this in school. They teach you to go get a job. You can't get rich getting a job, right? You may be able to make some cool money depending if you're a lawyer or something, maybe a doctor, but guess what? Contractors make more than lawyers. They make more than doctors. And they make more than that in a single month. So game changer. They don't teach you entrepreneurship in school. So all these other pathways, and we've been programmed. Go to school, get an education, get a college degree, get a job, buy a house, get married, have a picket fence, and all these. So everybody's following the same American dream and this pathway to brokenness, right? Because if you're making less than 6 figures, even if you're making $100,000, $150,000 a year, that is no money. It is not. And for those of you who know, and you're doing that, that is no money. It is not, right? But we think that $100,000 a year is, because of the way that we've been programmed, is a lot. What if I told you you can do that in a single month? What if I told you you could do it in a week? What if I told you that? Would you believe that? Most of you probably would think it's impossible simply because of the programming and the limited beliefs that we have around how money is really made. Because when you think about business and a business doing that type of revenue, you're thinking about, I don't have enough hours to be able to put in. You're not selling hours when you do it the right way. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you're enjoying it. I wanted to take some time to invite you to join me in the GovCon Challenge. The GovCon Challenge takes place once a month, where I invite a bunch of entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs to come and have me teach you the 5 things you must do to pre-qualify your business to land lucrative contracts with the government. So join me in the GovCon Challenge. Click on the link in the description. You'll be glad you did. Join as VIP for exclusive behind-the-scenes information, and you could become a part of the top 1% of entrepreneurs across the nation. Now back to the video you were watching. You're selling value, and your value is multitude, right? You can make a multitude of revenue. So anyways, I'm moving today, y'all. Like, I'm moving through this, like, because I have so much in each of these different things. Like, I could do a whole 30-minute training for each of these 10 things, right? We'll be here for 300 hours, but we're not going to do that for real. So anyways, entrepreneurship is the truest path to wealth when you know how to do it right. Because so many of us, there's 33 million businesses that exist in the US. Of course, this is a statistic that I constantly share, but 96% of that 33 million don't even make $100,000 a year. That is a huge problem, right? And so because it's such a huge problem, this is why I love to bring education about entrepreneurship to the marketplace, because it's like, why is that so? Why are only 2% making $1 million because they know something that you don't know? And why only 6% making $100,000 or more? Why? Those numbers are very staggering, but it's also because the 96 percentile don't really understand business. All they heard was start a business and sell something. That's it. Start a business and work really hard like a job and exchange my time for money. That's it. They don't understand strategies and market and different levels to business and who your real avatar and how to hone out who has the money to pay me. If I want to make $1 million a year, if I want to make $1 million a month, who has pockets that deep? And then draw the line backwards. So it's just like you're selling to the wrong market. So anyways, I wish I'd known those things. Did you know that there are shortcuts to making millions of dollars? Like, literally, because most small people, like small business entrepreneurs, like who are just stuck at maybe the low 6 figures or whatever, they do things in a way or think about business in a way that kind of keeps them stuck. I'm going to show you a quick shortcut strategy to millions. And this will work for you. If you start thinking about shortcuts to millions and doing the math, writing the vision and making it plain, then you execute upon that plan based on what your goals are, like, you can crush your results. Like, you can crush it. So I'm going to show you 4 pathways. I think I'll be able to do 4 shortcuts to millions. I'm going to do a little bit of math here. So let me bring up my calculator. So 4 shortcuts to millions, right? And this is based off the highest tier, the highest value of a business model that you can bring to the marketplace. Okay. And so this is based off that. So the first one is $250,000 contracts. Okay. All you need is 4 of those. Who has the biggest pockets? I'm not going to y'all know the answer is the government and maybe corporations. So if you're not doing these, then you are out of the game. If you want to get into the game, you got to know who the players are and know how to play the rules, right? Play by the rules. So 4 of those, you do 4 of those, that's 4 times versus 5,000 transactions of $200 or whatever that math is instead of that, or 5,000 hours at $200 an hour, whatever your math is. So you do that 4 times a year. You do that 4 times a month. You could literally do this 4 times a month, like when you're playing with the right player, okay? 4 times a month. But let's just say maybe you can't phantom the idea of being able to secure $1 million a month. Do that 4 times a year. It's easy, right? So the other pathway, maybe you don't want to do it 4 times. You could do this 2 times a year. 2 times. 1, 2. That's easy, right? Do that 2 times a year. Or you could decide, hey, I don't want to do it 2 times a year. That's too much. I just want to be able to hit 1 contract of $1 million. Very doable when you're doing business with the right player, period. Or you could be like, hey, I want to go the slow path. And if I do, let me break this down. So 8. So if I do $125,000 simplified acquisitions, right, a year, Then I got to do that 8 times. So you can do 1 transaction. You can do this in 2 transactions. You can do this in 4 transactions, or you can do this in 8 transactions. There's no right or wrong way to make $1 million, but these are shortcuts. So you take this math and you're like, what type of value can I package at $250,000? That's where you look at what is worth, right? What kind of value can I bring to the marketplace? And trust me, this right here could be professional trainings, professional development, diversity, cultural and equity inclusion trainings. It could be CPR trainings. In fact, one of my clients did that exactly, providing CPR trainings. It could be video, photos, work, or whatever. It could be breast care exams, literally. You're like, I don't do breast care exams. I'm not a medical doctor. You got to stop thinking about just you. Who do I need to partner with that does it? And you can partner together. And now you do, right? Because your partner, it gives you their expertise. You inherit their expertise when you partner with other people. So this is not a me game. This is a we game. We are better together. And so that's all I have to say about that. This is the shortcut. I wish I would have known the shortcut to millions. So instead of me thinking I'm going to charge somebody $50,000 an hour, how many hours do I need to do that to make $1 million? I need to put in 20,000 hours to do that. Why? No. How about instead of doing $50 an hour, I charge $20,000 for the hour. And all I need to do that is 50 times. $20,000 an hour for 50 hours. That's 1 week, basically. That's 1 week. Who do you know that you can bill $20,000 an hour for your expertise, your knowledge, your service? Only person I know is the government. And here's a clear example. One of my clients, her name is Kim. She teaches specifically diversity, equity, inclusion, right? Workforce diversity, professional development classes. One contract for 1 hour for her recorded was $23,000 for the hour. So I know it's possible because it's happening, and it's happening for the people who are believers that it can happen for them, and for the people who understand how to navigate this space, and for the people who are not afraid to make money and to learn and to get out of their own way. I know that it's possible because it happened for Kim. If it happened for Kim and many other people, it can happen for you, right? I wish I knew more stories about some of the wealthiest people in the world. I wish I knew more stories about it, because you don't hear about those stories. We read books about, what was some of the books that Greece. Everybody read the book about Greece. We all read books about things that has absolutely nothing to do with progressing in life, creating wealth, making money, paying bills, and all these other things. No, we read no books about those things in high school, nor in college, right? And so when you understand those stories and you're like, oh, I don't have to think about crab in a bucket mentality clientele that want to price shop and bargain shop and barter with me and stuff like that. I can come from the place of selling something more valuable at hundreds of thousands of dollars per pop, right? So knowing those stories help you to identify with the greatness that's within yourself as well. Number 7 is, I wish I knew how money really works. Yes, we take probably like a finance class, maybe economics, but we don't really know how money truly works until you're in the money game, right? Money works in the background. And we're talking about everything from interest rates and how to make it work for you. We're talking about compound interest and how to make it work for you, and how to multiply your wealth and how to employ your money. There are certain ways that money works that most people are just on the other side. They're on the wrong side of how money works. The majority of people are on the wrong side. So I wish I'd known more about how money really works and how you can actually, money is not a physical thing. It's really not even real. It's a spiritual thing that manifests in the physical. But when you align yourself and then you remove some of the mental blocks that is holding you back and repelling money, then you can attract more money and more wealth into your life. But that's a whole nother story. Okay. But I wish I knew more at that time before starting my business of how money really works. Number 8 is my favorite, God's intention for life, right? After God created the heavens and the earth and divided the lightness from the darkness and the sky from the ground, and created the birds and the bees and the fish and the fowl and all the beasts and all the serpents and things of that nature, the last thing he did was create man in his own image. Y'all know I take it there, right? Everything that you need to know about growing, developing, evolving in life, in business, in relationships, in wealth, the scripture has it. And I'm not talking about come to Jesus. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about principles in the Bible that are so real. So this is the reason why there are lost scrolls, because the instructions were there. They took out a lot of the meat and potatoes from the Bible because if people understood how powerful they really were and how to operate in their likeness of God, like, everybody will be wealthy. So you got to know who you are and whose you are and what's the intention and why you're here. You got to know these things, right? And if not, start doing some soul searching. Yes. So number 8 is the biggest mindset programming that keeps most people from ever taking action, right? All of the self-talk, self-doubt talk. I can't, right? Words are so very powerful. It is. Like, words are so very powerful that this is how powerful they are. That God used words to create you, me, the universe, the world, and everything that exists. He used words. Let there be light. He spoke that into existence. And then he created man in his own image, which means that all the words that we speak, we're constantly speaking things into existence. Whether you see them in the physical, they're happening in the spiritual realm. There is a spiritual realm. We are in a spiritual realm, right? So words are so very powerful. And so when I say the biggest mindset, things that hold us back is how we view and the things that we speak, right? So our belief system is really based off of things that we've been programmed to believe, limitations. The first thing you learn in school is limitations. Don't think for yourself. Think how I want you to think. So now your mindset is already limited because of that, right? Don't go beyond the problem. Just solve this little piece of the problem. Your mindset is already limited. And so because of those limitations, when it's like, oh, you can make $1 million a day, you can't, there's always going to be somebody, you can't possibly make $1 million a day because their mind is limited, right? Yes, you can. There are no limitations. The only limitations that we have are the ones that we place upon ourselves. That is it. So when you say things like, I can't, then you automatically, your spirit being, your metaphysics, the spiritual being automatically shuts down, and it automatically stops thinking of possibilities to where you can make that happen. But when you speak, how can I? You ask yourself, how can I? Then you open up the opportunity for your mind to start figuring out ways for you to make that happen for yourself. And when you figure out the way, the pathway, then you do the execution of that thing, then guess what happens? You have manifested that you could do that in a single day because you took action. That's why I say faith without works is dead. You got to have the work. You got to have the action steps with your faith, right? And execute upon those things, and it can happen. So there are no limitations. So the things that you speak are very powerful. They're either working for you or working against you right now. So you got to start thinking about that. One of the other biggest things that people speak, as soon as you have the opportunity to do something, you're like, I'm going to have to get a loan in order for me to do that. Whatever that thing is going to help you multiply either wealth, health, relationships, or whatever it is that you want to accomplish, right? Whatever that is. And then you look at that interest rate, you're like, oh, I'm not going to pay that much interest rate, or that interest rate is ridiculous, or it's an inflation, all this other stuff, right? Those things are false. Because when you do the math and you get the result, you're the one that's winning when you take the loan. So I don't even have time to go into that. I probably have a video somewhere on how that really works, but those limited beliefs and the things that we've been programmed to say to ourselves and to act upon because we think we know, if you understood how money really works and you understood that other people's money is the way, is another gateway in the pathway to really unlocking unlimited potential for yourself, then you wouldn't even never look at another interest rate and believe that it's true. Okay. And then lastly, I wish I'd had known about government contracts. Really have. I really wish I would have known more about government contracts. I didn't know a thing about, like many of you probably didn't even know, many of you here probably had no idea that you can do business with the government. I wish I had known that when I graduated from business school and I got a 4-year college degree and then went on to get a master's degree in business and have spent over $200,000 in student loans. Got a loan for life and was never told, Your avatar, the people who have the pockets for the type of lifestyle that you want to live, is the government. The people who can write you a $1 million check in one round is the government, right? The person who can write you a check for $23,000 for 1 hour of your expertise, where you're getting up in front of people and talking about how to be fair to you and your people and people who look like you, right, is the government. They're the ones that can write the check. They're the ones that's writing the check. So had I known about that, it would have saved me years of chasing Pookie and Rays, trying to convince them to buy my stuff, knowing they had very limited money. And with the little bit of money that they have, they want more out of you than what they're willing to put in and all that stuff. So all of those headaches, chasing customers and barely making money in business, knowing that business is the way and the pathway to creating wealth. If I'd have known that first, I would have started at the top. I would have started at the top. And so anyways, my aim and my goal here, I want you guys to buy into my vision. I want you to listen to what my vision is, because I'm so very passionate about what the contracting world has brought to me and for me and my family to be able to build a legacy, and how I've gone on to train other people how to leverage contracting with the government to create legacies for themselves and their business, and like life-changing, see things that they've never thought was possible with this. My goal, because there's so many opportunities that are on the table daily that are unclaimed, especially by women entrepreneurs. Hello. Especially because of the things that are unclaimed. My goal, I'm gonna write the vision so y'all can see very plainly, because it says to write the vision and to make it plain. So not only am I writing the vision and making it plain, but I have a pathway to make it happen for myself and for the impact that I want to create. My goal is to help one small business entrepreneurs add 1 million to their business bottom line in the next 5 years. You can do that. And I'm talking about $1 million a year to the business bottom line, right? So even if I help them do that one time, that's $1 billion pumped back into the small business community, right? But I'm giving them a blueprint and a pathway to being able to do that for a year, over 5 years. So you take that 1 billion, you multiply that by 5. That is 5 billion. This is the impact. What can $5 billion collectively for small businesses? And I specifically talk to what can it do for yourself, your community, the economy, like all of the things. Especially, I specifically talk to women entrepreneurs, and especially I talk to minority entrepreneurs. And I also talk to veteran-owned entrepreneurs. And even if you're not Black and brown, you're not Asian, you're not a minority, but you are maybe a Caucasian entrepreneur who also want to create wealth, and you have a small business and you've been at a disadvantage and you've been disenfranchised, right? Because that exists as well, right? You could be a part of the vision, but there are steps that you need to take. There's steps. You got to be willing to get out your own way. You got to be willing to learn things new. You got to be willing to be coachable, all those things, right? But the pathway to that is there's a boot camp, right? The pathway to learning how to do all this stuff is let's get some of this programming out of the way, the things that's holding you back, and show you what the opportunities are that are on the table. So the pathway is our GovCon challenge. It's where you start. This is the door where you start to get yourself pre-qualified to landing this lucrative client as your own client. You got to start at this base level, right? This is like boot camp, the basics. If you don't understand the basics, you're not going to be able to understand the advanced stuff. You got to know the basics. And so for as little as $97 or $297 if you want to ask questions, or $597 if you want to be prioritized and asking your questions, $597, you get to learn $3,000 worth of value and game to jumpstart your success in the government contracting space. And this is even for you if you already say I'm certified, I'm already I got NAICS codes and I got my capability. Don't nobody care about none of that. If you ain't making no money, you don't know nothing. We're going to the basics. Okay. So govconchallenge.com, pre-qualify your business for government contracts. Trust me, you're going to learn some things that you do not know. You're going to learn some frameworks that you did not know. You're going to learn some pathways and entryways that you did not know. So you will go there. The next one is coming up in the next couple days or something like that. But you definitely want to get yourself registered to change your life. Okay. Now we have opened up opportunities for those who want to help with the mission of 1,000 make 1 million over the next 5 years. Service that you provide is going to impact somebody, and it's going to impact the masses, right? You could do that by joining us as an affiliate partner who recommends our challenge. You could potentially make up to about 3,000 or more a month passively just by referring people to take the challenge. Okay. We have a whole breakdown of how those numbers work. If you want to be a part of that impact, you can let us know. Join us at GovCon Affiliate. It's free to sign up as an affiliate referral partner. But these are the things that you want to do. So anyways, in order for your business to be positioned to land lucrative, large government contracts, and we are like, this is almost May, June, July, August, September. So we have about 5 months, 5 months before the end of the fiscal year, which now is the perfect time to get in. Because guess what happens? The end of the fiscal year, they have this money still sitting in their cupboards. They're like, we got to dump this money into the small business community. Who's positioned that we can write these big checks for, because we have to, right? That's a great problem to solve. And it's great to be in position to open up your windows of heaven, right? And your cupboards or whatever to get the overflow, because they're going to be basically throwing it at small businesses. So you definitely want to be in position to do that. So you can join us at govconchallenge.com for yourself to position yourself. And you can also become an affiliate and refer other people and make money while you're in the challenge, right? As a referral partner, and potentially earn 3,000 or more and passively in income, right? That's an extra $36,000 a year on top of what you're already doing for free, right? That you ain't got to do nothing but just say, hey, did you hear about the GovCon challenge? You want to get pre-qualified to land these large contracts? Boom. That's easy. Anybody can do that. That's easy. We give you all the words, the scripts, everything that you need to do for referrals. We give you everything that you need. So anyways, that's it for today, you guys. I hope that these top 10 lessons I wish I'd known before starting my business was eye-opening for you. And it also encourages you and empowers you to know that there's some homework that you also can do, right? To better position yourself to have the number one biggest purchaser of products and services in the world as your client. You can do that. And I know you can do it. So in the meantime, I'll see you guys next time. But go be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it. And trust me, you will have dominion when you do the work. And I'll see you next time. All right.